What's up, everybody? What's up, Bill?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing okay, man. I got a little cold.
That's not coronavirus.
I hope not.
You know, people, they say the sale of Corona beer is down like 30% because idiots think it's somehow connected to the virus.
Yeah, I know, man.
Isn't that crazy, man?
I'm buying it right now. I got 6 cases.
I'm drinking it up.
30. I got a half price on Corona beer. I got them in the garage right now. 6 cases. So we're here, man. We're in Tribeca, the new home of Police Off the Cuff. We have a phenomenal guest today. I'm very, very excited. We're not going to leave him sitting around. What's up, Rick Martinez?
Hey, good morning.
A legend. What's up? Another one.
Nice to meet you, man.
Thanks for having me.
You know who referred him to me?
Who?
Monty.
Oh, yeah, Monty.
Yeah, Monty said, hey, my friend, so-and-so.
Brother Monty.
Yeah, man. What's up, Monty? How are you? Hope you're doing well, man.
Good man.
Yeah, we got to get Monty to record the song again, so this way we have it officially on...
That's right, he has the 4-4 Ode to the 4-4 precinct. Yeah, that's a great song.
Yeah.
How's it sound to you? Does it sound all right? No, we went back to the headphones, so it sounds a little weird again. But the reason why I have you here, Rick, is because you were part of one of the most incredible police stories that happened in the 80s, something that really characterized New York City, showed the racial divide here in the city. It also encompasses the crack epidemic, what it was like between the police, the tension between the police and minority communities here in New York City. All this was all in one pot.
It was all playing.
And then it exploded on that night in what was it, November?
November 19th.
November 19th, 1986. The day they went after and tried to get Larry Davis, who was a Bronx resident. He was, I think he was like 20 years old at the time.
Yep.
He was a local DJ, very popular in the neighborhood, came from a big family. He also worked on motorcycles, very handy, could play a lot of different instruments.
Play guns.
Well, before you get to that, you know, the guy actually had a reputation in the neighborhood as being he was involved in the beginning of hip hop. And he was, he had record studios all around there in the Bronx. Who knows how they was paying for this kind of stuff. But he was popular. He had, I think, 3 brothers who were already in prison.
Yep.
He had a couple of sisters in the neighborhood. His mother was still alive. And he was big, intimidating figure. You know, but big chest. It looked like he lifted a lot of weights. But he was probably just a genetic freak. Everybody knew him in the neighborhood. Yeah. And so he got. Before we get into that part of it, let's go back to how you got involved on that night, that fatal night, November 19th. You were obviously a cop, but you were an emergency service unit.
I was. And before I answer, let me just say how great it is for me to be sitting here with you guys. Judging by some of the guys you've had and gals you've had sitting in the seat before me, it's an honor that I've been invited, so thank you. Not quite sure how I feel sandwiched between you two.
This is like Cooperstown.
Listen, I'm the one that's honored, man.
We're both honored to have you guys.
To even have the people that were involved in these stories to actually be able to pick their brain and find out exactly how they felt in that moment is just fascinating.
And we don't have to buy them any drinks.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, we're doing it right here.
Just the water.
Right,
just the water.
Yeah. No.
So before we started the show, even though we try not to chit chat too much because we don't want to waste it for the air, Bill asked you how much time did you have on the job, and you said when this incident took place, you said 4 years.
4 years, and I just got into ESU. I think I was in only 3 or 4 months.
Wow.
So baptism by fire for sure.
Wow.
That's pretty fast to get into ESU. 4 years on the job.
That's amazing.
Who was your hook? Who was your rabbi?
Funny you should say that. Because my story is not typical. It's not unique. I know there are many in my similar circumstances, but it's not typical. Born and raised South Bronx, straight out of the projects, where you grew up and having to make certain choices. And my choice in life was, I've known very early on, so about 4 or 5 years older. When I grew up, I was going to be a New York City cop.
Oh, shit. That's
and
great.
not just a New York City cop, an emergency service cop.
What was it that attracted you to...
Mark, I have to say the limerick right now. It's important, all right? Yeah. When the public needs help, they call the police. When the police need help, they call ESU.
So, what was it about the emergency service cop? Was it the show SWAT?
That was part of it, yeah, absolutely.
For those our younger audience, there was a TV show on I forget what channel it was, probably NBC. It was called SWAT.
Yeah, yeah.
Special Weapons
And
and
Tactics.
Tactics. And it was about the SWAT team in Los Angeles.
California, yeah, but RESU guys get pissed when they're called SWAT.
I don't know why. It's
Emergency.
such a much better name. It really is. SWAT is a much cooler name than ESU, Emergency Service.
Yeah,
it just
but-
doesn't sound
But
like
it has
it.
all that California shit.
Who cares,
They don't
man? It
wanna
sounds
be
cool,
California,
man.
You know?
Anybody who sees the ESU guy, they always tell you, aren't you, hey, you guys SWAT, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all. There it goes. It's a better name. Just change it to SWAT. It's so annoying, ESU. But anyway, SWAT was a cool show. I used to watch. It was one of my favorite shows. You had TJ, you had Luca. I always used to have to play Luca because Luca was black, and in my neighborhood, I was half Dominican, which was the closest to being black. So everybody else was white. It was
you were-
Greek or Italian. So I had to always play Luca because I was the closest, because I was Dominican. But you had TJ, Luca. Who was the sniper, man? I always wanted to.
TJ was a sniper.
All right, TJ. Okay, yeah, I always wanted to be TJ. But so you had this fascination. What was it? Was it the guns, the helmets, the trucks that they drove, or all of the
All of the above. All of the above. In the projects in South Bronx, we kept them busy. We kept them busy, and that truck was in our neighborhood quite a bit, and I saw what they did, and I wanted to do that. And growing up in the area that I did, I saw things that really no 4 or 5-year-old should have to see.
Oh, good.
And but nothing affected me more than to see my parents, who are my heart and soul, to come home beat up, bloody.
Wow.
You know, my dad for the few bucks he had in his wallet, my mom for her
What do you mean,
purse.
getting robbed?
Get robbed, yeah.
Yeah, my grandfather got robbed once. I remember when he came home. That was I never forget that.
Yeah, yeah. So I saw that enough, and not only with my parents, but with just local innocent folks.
What are you,
just trying
Puerto
to get
Rican?
I am.
And your parents came here.
Came from Puerto Rico, looking to make a better life for them, for their 3 kids. My brother Jim and sister Yvonne, and yeah, they did a great job with us. But
Yeah, you look
we were there.
So at a young age, and then were you going through high school? Did you put on the cape and the helmet and go out there and try to fight crime? What did you do?
You know, funny you say about high school. I went to a private Catholic high school, Hollows, in the Bronx. And one day the teacher comes in and he says, gentlemen, it was an all-male school. It's the only reason I passed. Gentlemen, we have a guest speaker today. A good friend of mine, Sergeant Bill Manos, may he rest in peace, is here to talk to you guys.
Wow.
And
You
I
must
got
have been in
excited because
heaven,
it was
right?
emergency service.
Oh, wow.
So we go run outside and the big truck is out there.
Oh, man.
Guys jump out of the back. They start breaking out the guns and
How
the
old were you?
vest. I was a sophomore, junior in high school.
Oh, yeah, the chubby, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's running around like this.
Yeah. But it turns out that just 5, maybe just 6 years later, I'm driving that sergeant
wow.
in that truck.
That is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Bronx boy makes good, drives
Yeah,
the
yeah,
big
yeah.
ESU truck.
Yeah.
What truck was that?
Truck 3 in the
Truck
Bronx.
3.
Yeah.
So did you take the test right after high school? Is that what you did?
I did.
The police test?
I did. I'm probably going to hear it for this, but I was studying for that test since I was about 6, 7 years old.
Really?
Yeah, I was watching every cop show, reading every cop
You know, I hate to
book.
tell you this, but you could have probably passed that test at 6 or 7 years old. You didn't really have to study that much. The test is pretty easy, to tell you the truth. I hate to let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah.
I'm living
I found
proof
that
of
out. I found that out later. So I took it, I aced it, and yeah, when I was 20, I was sworn into the academy. It was great.
20 years old, huh?
Proudest moment of my life.
That's unbelievable.
Now, usually when you come on at 20, they pull you out in the middle of the academy and make you go buy beer. Did they make you do that?
No, not those days.
You got lucky.
Yeah.
So you were going into the police, you were at the police academy, you're 20 years old. Was it everything that you thought it was going to be? I mean, you must have been really excited.
It was. There were aspects of the academy that I found a little surprising.
Like what?
Um,
Showering with all the other guys?
Gym, yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know
that's a lot
about you,
of
but I
fun.
love that. Huh? Wasn't that fun, right?
And can I tell you,
Showering with all the men's?
we were, and I think still are, record holders of the largest class to go through the academy.
What year was that?
82.
Oh, yeah.
I had
35.
3,000
That's
when
right.
I
Yeah,
went.
3,000, yeah.
Really? Well, we were like 28 something.
Yeah.
We were like 34,
Yeah,
3,500,
that's
something
amazing.
like that. So yeah, we were packed
Did
in
you
pretty
guys
tight.
go 24/7 or what?
Yeah, 3 squads.
Yeah, we did that
Wow.
too. Not 24/7, but we went.
Oh, you didn't do a midnight tour.
No.
but you
No,
went.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
yeah.
4 to 12. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
So,
if they did midnights, all those academy little,
Yeah.
softies would go
Yeah.
bitching.
I would have
and then
bailed out
quit, right?
too.
Today, yes.
Oh, forget
Today,
about it, man. Maybe back then the instructors at the academy were a little harder than they
So
are today.
what were you
right?
saying about the things that didn't that you didn't anticipate? What was it again that you just said?
Yeah. social sciences and the how to relate to people and the psychology behind it,
You didn't
because
like
it's
that
not
stuff?
what I saw on the street.
Oh, you didn't see what.
No.
You didn't see what they were teaching you in the academy. You didn't see the way the cops acting like that in the street.
Exactly. It's how they wanted you to
Yeah.
perform and behave.
Well, they used to
but-
talk about transactional analysis, right?
Yeah.
That was social science.
Well,
yeah.
it used to be like as soon as you got out of the academy and you came to your first command, they said, "Hey kid, whatever you learned in the police academy,
Forget about it.
Exactly.
Right.
This is the way you're going
Exactly
to do
right.
it from now on."
Exactly right.
They don't do that anymore. I don't think. They don't want you to. They're not trying to change your.
Man,
they want you to stay
you must
that
have
way.
been like a baby though, man. 20 years old. Holy shit.
Yeah,
And
but
that's the
it's
first thing my
young.
FTO told me when I got into NSU out of the academy was, whatever they taught you, forget it.
It's all bullshit.
Yeah.
So you didn't like you're taking this social science thing, but you're smart enough to take it with a grain of salt.
Right. Right.
Because you already know, you've seen firsthand knowledge, especially somebody, that's interested in police work. There's two type of people in those neighborhoods sometimes. The person that's watching it because they're in awe, like, wow. And there's a person like watching it just to like, okay, that's the police car. I know that plate number. So then this way they know everything
Right.
about police, but so they could use it to their advantage on the other end.
Right.
And I would imagine you must have been pretty straight-laced as a teenager, though, right? Because you obviously had this goal in mind.
I had to be, because I knew that if I messed up, got in trouble, one, I would get in trouble with my parents, and two, I'd ruin my chances of getting on a job. So I had to
Yeah.
stay straight. All of my asshole friends running around the block were, their idea of having a good time was snatching bags and breaking into cars. I didn't want to do that because, I knew
When you say snatching bags, you're talking about purses?
purse snatching.
So there was a lot of the neighborhood kids were doing robberies, basically.
That was their thing. Yeah, yeah.
And did you play a lot of sports and stuff?
Baseball.
Yeah, you
Baseball,
look like a baseball player.
Yeah, not really a big athlete guy, but
Yeah.
baseball. Yeah.
So you get into the academy now, and I already told you my favorite part was the shower room. And what was? Did you guys have to do this? Like we go to the 3,000 people. There's a bunch of people waiting in line to take a shower. You know what I'm saying? Remember how crazy that was? And then you wouldn't bring your towel to. To the shit, because then you were just basically throwing it on the side before
right.
you went in, and then anybody on the way out, you're just picking up a towel.
up
You don't know
anyone's
whether it's
towel.
yours.
He's fixated on the
I think
showers.
so. He's a little bit. It's making me a little nervous right now. I've done.
I just used to hang out. I used to take the corner one. I was the first one in and the last one out.
This is our 70th episode.
I used to go like
This
this,
is coming out now.
I used to just wave it. I used to let everybody know when the next guy could come in. Bring him in. So, and then also the food too. Like right now, you go to the police academy in College Point. They have a dining hall downstairs. They have catered. You could get sandwiches. You could get salads. Hot food. But back then, on 21st Street over there, you used to have to walk around the neighborhood.
On your own, yeah.
You had an hour to eat,
Yeah.
right?
Grab something and be back, yeah.
We talked about those legendary meatball heroes at the range.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So when you graduated, what was your first command?
4-4.
You went right to the 4-4,
Right to the
huh?
4-4.
Back in the Bronx.
I
Was that
back
a
home.
request?
I was back.
Did you hope to go somewhere else?
I did. No, I wanted the 4-4.
You
I
did?
wanted the 4-4 and I wanted it bad, yeah.
But why?
I'd seen, again, growing up in the neighborhood, I'd seen how the cops were there. I'd seen the response. If one guy got assigned to something simple, 4 or 5 cars would immediately converge right on. And I liked that. And, they had a reputation. And I think the year that I got into the 4-4, I think we beat out the 7-5 in every major category
Most murders,
in the city, in everything.
You guys used to have that shirt with all the crime stats, right?
So they were busy, but they were. It was a family. The 4-4 was a family. Still is.
Yeah, I think that the busier the place, the closer the cops are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So you get assigned to 4-4. You're very, very happy right now. Do you go out and you start making a lot of collars right away, or you're easing your way in?
No, I went nuts right away. I had a distinct advantage over my fellow officers, especially those from upstate and from Long Island.
You knew the neighborhood.
I knew who the bad guys were. I knew where they were. I knew how they operated.
Right.
So as soon as they gave me a gun and a car and a partner, I went crazy locking everybody up.
At what point did you meet Monty?
Monty came in, I believe, a year later.
Wow.
And
Did he give you that Marine Corps shit?
Yeah,
Like,
he did. Yeah, he's
hoorah!
great.
He was.
Great. Monty's great.
Did when you went to lock up the people that basically like in your neighborhood, they were like, "Yo, Rick, bro, Ricardo, what's up,
Yo, Rick,
man?
what's up?
Yo, chill,
What
bro.
happened?
Yo, look, Ricardo's a cop.
Yeah.
Yo, you know me, Ricardo. Yo, what's up, bro? We went to high school. Yo, for real, man. Right?
Yeah,
Could you at least loosen up those cuffs?
Yo, Ricardo, man, come on, bro. Remember second grade?
Another radio car would have 4 or 5 guys up against the wall, and we'd pull up as backup, and the guys would turn and see me. Oh, yo, we're good. It's Rick. Oh, you're good.
You're good. I don't think so.
So, but didn't it? I'm trying to think of like, weren't you a little bit nervous of that though?
No.
That someone that would come back and bite you in the ass, maybe some really bad guy from the neighborhood, if you.
No, because
They knew who you were, they knew where you lived, they knew who your family was.
No, we were out of there by then.
Okay, good.
We were out of there by
Did
then.
you move way up north?
Yeah, we did.
You took that little $30,000 salary and moved them all upstate, right?
Yeah, I did. No, we were out by then, so I wasn't too concerned about that.
Yeah.
So you moved. What, is that what you did? You moved upstate.
Yeah.
All right. So now the 4-4 is all yours, man.
It is.
Go nuts.
It is.
Get the family out.
And I was very active and had the best boss, Sergeant Jack Moriarty, Smiling Jack, and he basically green-lighted me. You gotta go do what you do. And I just went nuts.
That's great.
How many Latinos were on the job back then?
You know what?
The job is heavy with it now.
Yeah, there were some. Not as many as I suppose today, but there were a few of us.
It's a weird job because, you know, like you come from all these different neighborhoods and you wind up working together. And I do a joke in my act about how to spot the undercovers. If you see a black dude, a white dude, an Asian dude, and a lesbian driving around in a minivan, they're probably undercover cops.
Exactly.
4 people that would never be together.
Exactly.
In any other situation in life. But now you're here, you're from the Bronx, and I'm sure you got to start all of a sudden working with white people that you're probably not really that familiar with. A lot of them coming from, upstate. Some of them from Long Island, what do they call it? East Cupcake, right?
Yeah.
Although most of the guys that work in the 4-4 from the north, they're from
north.
Rockland County. They're from Westchester, way up north.
Absolutely.
I don't think they get many Long Islanders in the 4-4.
I mean, how many Latins were in the 4-4 when you got in there?
Percentage-wise, I'd say maybe 25, 30%.
Because they're always looking for Latino cops. Anybody speak Spanish? Anybody who speaks Spanish?
You know, it's
Go
funny.
get mayo.
I was not asked to leave, but it was suggested that I not join the Hispanic Society
Why?
because my beliefs apparently with the leadership at the time, I won't name names now, but the leadership at the time, my beliefs were not in line with theirs.
And what was your beliefs?
The sergeant's test was coming up. So I was dead against getting promoted just because my name ended in EZ. If you study and I study,
Right.
and we both passed, then we both get promoted. If I didn't pass, then I shouldn't have got promoted.
Right.
I agree with you 100%.
But that's just me.
I would have still
personally.
taken the promotion, but I do agree with you.
That's just me personally. So we got into a whole thing. And he made a comment about how he's gonna fight the test. I'm like, but the test hasn't even come out yet. He says, yeah, but historically it's been culturally biased. And I'm like, well, I don't agree. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I know. But there's a lot to be said for. You never know who got passed up for whatever reason and didn't get promoted because of their ethnicity.
To that, yeah.
And it's a way of almost balancing it out. Like I said, I don't agree with it, but if my name was on the list and I got bumped up ahead of a few O'Reillys, fuck it, man. Payback's a bitch,
You wanted
man.
some free shit, man.
I'm taking it, man. Sorry, buddy. You'll see. He'll make it eventually.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I understand it. You're
The
a
guy
guy.
O'Reilly lived in the suburbs, man. He got a car on his 18th birthday, so fuck him.
We're sitting in between us is a man with morals.
There you go.
And on this side is the devil, and that's it's
It's
an angel.
O'Reilly. It's O'Reilly.
That's an angel on the other side. So yeah, man, that's a good thing. You don't want to take the promotion for the sergeant's test if you didn't earn it.
Right.
That's very admirable. But so let's keep going forward. You're in the 4-4. You're making a lot of collars. You're making a good name for yourself. How did you wind up getting an ESU and with only 4 years on the job?
Well, like I said, I was very active, and my sergeant, I quickly caught the eyes of my bosses, my sergeant, lieutenant, and I made it known that my goal on the job was to get into emergency service. So at about year 3, SOD opened up.
SOD is a Special Operations Division.
Sorry, and they opened up, but you needed 5 years in emergency to even apply for emergency. You needed 5 years in a command. So I didn't, but I put in for SOD, Special Operations, and I got Highway Patrol. So nothing against Highway, God bless them, we need them, but I quickly found that it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Those high boots, forget about it.
You know, I'm a Harley guy, which is why I went. But you know, car stops and accident reports was just not my thing. So I did that for about a year, and then the call just came. You know, even in highway, I
You must have
remained
played a
active.
stunning figure though, man, with your height and with those I don't know, the baggy pants and the leather
You're
jacket.
getting back from the shower, now you're getting into the highway uniform.
I'm gonna move closer to you.
I was walking.
Man.
I was walking side by side with a guy, a mounted guy, the other day through the academy, and I was taking in his uniform. You know, there's this slightly different than highway, but you both share the boots and then those
leather
pants. I don't know what kind of pants those are. What happens? I know that they take the metal thing out of the hat
hats,
immediately, so then it folds down. So that one's an easy one. But how do you get the baggy side pants, and what's that all about?
Yeah,
why is that necessary?
I don't know.
You know, I used to always say that most guys in highway were Italian. So and I said this, the guy was driving me one day. I was a new sergeant. There was 5 highway guys standing there. I go, watch this. I go, hey, Tony! And every single one of them every single one of them looked at me. I go, see?
And I quickly found out that highway is not as popular as precinct guys. I'd be hitting up in the bushes, waiting to do my speeds, and the radio cars would pass, and the cops would finger me.
Oh, are you serious?
And I'm just sitting there like, oh, this
Well, you know,
is
it's because some highway guys have a reputation of
some.
writing cops' families. And
Did you
stuff.
stay in the Bronx when you went to highway?
Highway 1 in the Bronx.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Why don't the highway guys have to wear leather pants? Because if you go down on the bike, I get the leather top.
Highway guys don't
the
go
jacket. They don't, right?
We don't go down.
Everybody goes down.
We don't go down. We don't go.
Did you? But how was that test? Was that hard to take that motorcycle test?
Oh, it's one of the most
difficult
challenging
thing.
in the
I could
country,
never
think.
do that.
Yeah. I think it's one of the toughest.
A lot of
in the
people
country.
must go down in that training, though,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Did you go
well,
down?
better to go there than
Yeah,
the real
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
It's a lot
Because
of
it's a
fun.
heavy bike, man.
It is.
It's got the 2 things on the side.
the saddlebag. Or something.
Yeah. What did you put in? Did you have a pillow in here and a blanket over here? What'd you have?
I'm so glad I brought that
He had
up.
Bacardi in the left
I'm
one.
glad I brought that up. Yeah. No, it was fun. It was for the short time I did. It was fun, but it just wasn't for me. That's
A year.
It just wasn't for me.
So you're there. How long did it take for you to figure out? This is cool,
year.
but I like the leather pants, but I'm not.
When I was out of there in a year, and I was harassing ESU actually along the way to find out.
Were you
what's
guys
going
next door to each other?
on. No. I'd call up the office. The office was out in Queens.
Okay.
So and it just happened. I didn't have any hook. There were no cops in my family. Had plenty of family on the other side, but no cops. So it just worked out.
I wonder if they were looking at. You mentioned that thing that you didn't want to be promoted because of your last name ended in EZ, and they were probably looking at ESU and say, you know what, we need a freaking Spanish dude here, man.
If that happened, I don't know it. But listen,
Wouldn't that be ironic?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that he was walking by and the captain said, "Mira."
I think he was walking
You
by.
were there?
I think he was walking
He
by.
forgot about that.
He was walking by and he saw him in those stirrup pants. Because
and it's funny when I got the call that I got ESU, I tell the guy at the roll call who's giving out the assignment, says, I'd like to go to 3 Truck in the Bronx. He's like, no problem. Nobody wants to go to 3 Truck.
wow, that's great.
So that
Isn't
was
truck 1 is called the Hollywood truck or
Hollywood
something,
truck,
right?
yeah.
Because everyone's taking pictures of them all the
They get
time.
all the good
So-
high profile jobs.
We had Mike Carew. He was
You know
in
Mike?
ESU. He was in
A scuba diver, yeah. He was
Harbor
a
scuba driver.
Yeah.
Doesn't
He has a little shop in
City Island.
City Island, yeah. He does a scuba
dive
diving
shop.
there, yeah. Great interview.
He was really interesting
really
guy,
good guy,
man.
man. I liked him a lot.
Neither one of us have ever been below the water. Right.
But yeah. So you get into tell us about the training.
The training was amazing. It was like summer camp. It was so much fun.
Did you rappel out of a helicopter?
Absolutely.
Oh man,
Yeah,
that's what I would fail right there,
Yeah, me
man.
too.
There's no way I'm
The heights
rappelling.
thing.
Oh yeah.
Did you have to go up to the top of the Throgsnick Bridge?
Brooklyn Bridge.
Brooklyn Bridge.
Oh
That was
my
probably
god. Did you
the
take
Wow.
pictures?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Did you do the
Shit.
dance on the thing like Saturday Night Fever?
No.
Remember when they get out of the car?
Yeah, no.
Then they
no.
go up and they dance it?
No, we'd clip into the cable and had 2 guide wires that go all the way to the top of the tower. And, you'd slide them up and you'd walk the cable up. halfway, maybe 3/4 up, the thing starts swaying.
Oh man.
What do you hold
That's
it on
when
to?
it
You hold
really
it onto
gets
like
fun.
a stick, the way the people that walk on the tightrope hold onto a stick. Is that what you're doing?
No, there's
it's
actually guide wires.
The guide wires, so if they did fall, it would catch them.
Catch it, yeah.
Okay.
And it tied to what's called a Morrissey belt around your
Yeah.
waist, and it clips in, and you just.
Morrissey's one of those guys that did well on the sergeant's test that he was talking about. He wouldn't mind.
All right. So we did.
So
the
wait a minute.
bridge.
So if you fell, nothing would happen, huh?
No, it would catch you. The clip would
Yeah,
catch
that's
you.
bullshit. I could do that. I thought you guys were just scared.
But it must be amazing when you reach the top. That the view
okay.
and just I'm on the top of the Brooklyn
It's
Bridge.
got-
Now,
It
when you
says-
reach the top of the cable, you have to unhook
Oh,
to
shit.
climb the ladder.
Oh,
That's a lot
man.
of fun.
Yeah, I'm
That's
not
where
doing
I
that.
withdraw from ESU.
I'm not doing that. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
You know, we had a guy one time on the Tribo at 6 o'clock on a Friday night in the summer was up threatening to jump. And the traffic was backed up all the way to the Battery, and everyone's going, "Jump, you fuck! Jump!"
Just do it. Do it.
I've actually mentioned that to a few jumpers. I'm like, look at all these poor people out there. Fuck them.
So tell us about that. You told us about that kind of training, but what kind of, as far as firearms training, what kind of firearms training
Well-
are you getting back then?
Before you can even get into the interview, you have to go out to our Rodman's Neck and do the heavy weapons course because they want to make sure that.
Okay,
you
tell
can
us
handle it.
about what the heavy weapons are.
Well, at the time, there were the 12-gauge shotgun, the Mini 14 carbine, the.
What is the Mini 14?
It's 223 wooden.
Well, we have a
Army
lot.
rifle.
We have a lot of audience that's
It,
not law enforcement.
it's a semi-automatic rifle.
Okay.
At the time we had the M5 machine gun, fully automatic capable.
Wow.
And in addition to the weaponry, also tactics was very important that we trained on. And you had to go through that. You had to go through the psychological exam and a medical and physical.
You passed that?
Oh yeah. No, I passed it. And
What was your favorite part of the ESU training? Like, do people have things? I know you got to score, you got to pass everything, but
You
there
gotta
was
pass
something that you excelled at.
I enjoyed it all. I think we all do. The helicopter, the aviation training
Rappelling
was
down.
What's that?
amazing.
Oh, you got to propel
You got
down.
to rappel down there.
Yeah, got rappelled down. And we'd actually go up to Camp Smith military base out of Peekskill, New York, and we worked with the military up there. But we'd go up and they'd bring us the lines to us into the ship, and they'd take us out. We'd rappel out. Sometimes you'd be standing out on the skid, and the pilot would just take you for a little ride through the mountains.
Oh, you're holding on?
While you're holding on. Yeah, you're standing
No, he's saying, "Fuck this! I'm just gonna balance."
Are you scared? You're like, yo, put me down, put me down.
I'm Rick Walenda.
No, having too much fun to be scared. It was great.
Let me ask something about the training. Is New York City ESU training better than others, like say SWAT units or emergency units across the country, or it's similar?
Not knowing fully well what other departments do in their training, I can't really answer that. But I can say that my personal opinion is yes, based on what I've been through, what I've seen, and what they're doing today. Absolutely.
They should have the ESU games where you guys go against LA SWAT and slap the shit out of them.
They have that. They have that, and they have, and
Sure.
we've sent folks, and we've done really
Yeah.
well.
So let me. So now you're. How long is the training? For you leave the 4-4 precinct and you go to ESU training. How long are you training?
6 months.
So you're there 6 months just training.
Right.
All right, and then you get out, and they put you to your dream, which is ESU 3,
They assign you to
the
your
truck 3.
Right.
And how about the truck? Getting to know the truck. Like, how do you get to know the truck? Like, how long does it take you before you know where everything is on the truck? Because those trucks have a lot of different spaces and boxes, and you're always pulling shit out of
There's
there.
a lot of shit on those trucks.
You need a needle and thread, we got it. You need what do you got, a hot tea? They got the bagels in the back. You need a tire iron? We got that too.
Yeah. Well, I get assigned to the truck, and I introduce myself, and obviously one of the youngest guys there, a few old timers who made
They
it
must have
clear.
been bugging out to you though, because you're like, you're 24 years old.
Yeah.
They must have been bugging out. Like, who let this kid in?
Yeah.
Right.
But they were good about it.
Okay.
They were good about it. The mentality in the ESU was, I won't say different than highway because each has its own, but you had to be family. You had to depend on each other and work together. You had to. There was no choice.
Are you guys like firemen too in a way? Like, are you making your own
Hey,
meals?
that's where it's over.
Don't make
He said the
waves.
F word. No, I'm kidding. Fire department. We love you guys. We love you.
No, but I mean, are you cooking your own meals and stuff
Yeah,
like that?
yeah,
Are you
yeah.
allowed to sleep? Can you?
No.
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 Are you doing an 8-hour tour still, or the
Yes.
tour is different?
Yes, no, it's 8 hours. 8 hours.
Do you have to still go out and write a bullshit summons every once in a while to appease somebody somewhere for no reason?
We did. Yeah, we still had to write the
Stupid. You ever
10
see ESU guys
That's
writing the summons?
ridiculous,
Like, what the
right?
fuck are you doing?
Yeah. We waited on midnights to do that, and we waited like towards the last day of the month to get it.
So ESU is still they're doing a day tour of 4 to 12 in the midnight?
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Now we're getting.
But that depends if you're assigned to the truck, then you're in, and the truck only gets called out if it's really that bad.
All right. So who are the other guys? If you're assigned to the truck, how many people are assigned to the truck?
Assigned to the truck, maybe 30 to 40, but per shift, you're talking 6. 2 in the Adam car, 2 in the boy car, and 2 in the big truck.
Okay. So there's guys that are in the cars, and the guys that are in the truck. If you're the truck stays in unless
Stays
it's
in.
needed.
Right.
And what are you guys? What are you doing? Polishing the tires and every day with the fucking truck?
You're maintaining the equipment.
Yeah, it's a lot of maintaining, right?
There's a lot of maintaining.
I can't do it because I have a
I'll do
cold.
the maintaining tonight.
So you learn your way around the truck, right? And now you finally get out and you're doing your ESU thing. And how did it feel, man? To finally get everything on, you got it.
There's no words. I can even, I mean, when you're looking at something when you're 5, 6 years old in your head, and now you're living it, you're actually doing it. How can you even reach to that? So yeah, it was
Hey,
the
it
proudest
beats
moment.
the shit out of selling insurance, right?
Sure does.
Yeah, it was fun, man. I'm sure it's fun. I mean,
Sure does.
like Bill said, you know, if you need help, you call a cop. If cops need help, they call ESU.
Yeah.
So now you're working in the ESU. Your whole dream's coming true. You're going through a couple of months there. Right about the 4th month, man. What happens?
Yeah.
Tell us how that tour started.
So November 19th, 1986, I was the emergency boy car with Mary Buckley. Mary was my partner that night. She was
She was a sergeant?
no, she was my partner
Okay.
that night. Not steady partner. We hadn't. I hadn't had a steady partner yet. I had to work with all the guys and gals before that happened. But I worked with Mary that night, and Mary she's old school. She got hired back in the 70s with what I call the real cops.
Wow.
And yeah, she was badass, and so it was really, really cool to work with her.
How many females in the ESU at the time?
At the time, she was it.
That was it?
She was it. And the first, and I think only at the time, female counter sniper, which tells you a
Wow,
lot,
she must
yeah.
have been real
Yeah.
badass.
Yeah,
the
she
only
was.
female in
She
ESU and a
was.
counter sniper.
sniper, man.
Wow.
She's hot.
You
Yeah,
figured there would be a
absolutely.
natural at that.
Absolutely.
Women being snipers. They know exactly where to hit you.
that's right.
They know where to hit you where it hurts.
Yeah.
So,
we started.
what
our
was your tour? What was your shift that
It was
day?
a 4 to 12. We did a 4 to 12.
You come in for a 4 to 12.
Yeah. We get in, we go downstairs. We're checking out the truck, making sure everything is
Checking out the truck. And,
Yeah,
already? You go right to sleep?
exactly.
Eating some of those ESU burgers.
And then we get out and we do our thing.
What time do you get called for this TAC meeting? I'm sure there's a TAC meeting that's involved. When did you find out that you're gonna be involved in going after this Larry Davis character?
I think the first call came in about 6:30 p.m. that night when we found out that they had finally gotten a call from some confidential informant that ratted him out, basically that he was at his sister's house.
Okay.
So the detectives from the 401 squad immediately start putting this plan into action, and they called us.
Okay.
So being in the boy car, when you have an Adam in a boy car, you split the borough, the precincts in half. And the boy car has all the odd number precincts. The Adam car has the even number. So we had the 401, and Mary and I shoot over there. And they're running around and trying to figure out, what they're going to do, how they're going to do it. And I said, I new guy, so I'm following Mary and whatever, but I thought we should have a boss there, our ESU boss. So she called him, and he was on his way. But they're frantic to not lose him.
To lose who?
Larry Davis.
Larry
Larry
Davis.
Davis, because apparently, there have been several.
Is there a car
incidents
sitting in
before
front of the house watching the location just while you guys are getting
that.
together?
There was, yeah.
All right, but is there at some point? You guys are all going to convene somewhere at the command and talk about exactly what you're doing? Does that happen?
You don't have a TAC meeting?
Yes. Right there at the station house, we broke it down as to where he was, how they wanted to do this, who
And
was
this
going
is
to do what.
ESU and who else?
And the
Precinct
401 squad.
detectives.
Precinct detectives.
And that's it.
Yeah, that's all you need, really.
And how many people are there? Because the precinct detectives, you got the catching detective, and maybe there's like 4 or 5 other detectives working that shift.
The detective captain was basically running this one, and
So the borough captain for detectives.
for detectives, yeah,
Okay.
it was there. And I think there had to be 7 or 8 detectives.
The
in the room.
detectives.
Yeah.
You know, I've been in these TAC plans with ESU and with the squad and stuff, and really, you know, we'll have a schematic maybe of the apartment, and we'll tell them what we think we have in this room. There might be some pit bulls in this room, you got whatever, and we think the perps in this room. But I was totally willing to just let ESU run the show because you guys got the heavy weapons, you got the heavy vest, and it's not like TV where the detectives go in first.
Right.
You know, ESU goes in first.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
obviously, which is intelligent.
Now, Larry Davis, what was I going to say? Did you guys have an idea of what the apartment looked like before?
No.
So you didn't have a layout of the
There was no
apartment.
schematic of the
No.
apartment.
No.
So when we watch these movies, and you know they're sitting there talking about it, this is a layout. We're going to come in through here and that. You guys don't have any of that. You know which building is it?
That's the norm. But there was a sense of urgency here.
Yeah, because tell us, for those who don't know about Larry Davis, he was wanted for the murder of 4 or 5 drug dealers at this point right now.
Yeah.
There was I don't know, was it a drug deal gone bad or something? That four or five drug dealers got killed, assassinated,
Right.
and they have the police believe that it's Larry Davis
Right.
that did it.
Exactly.
So now they get a tip. Now the tip that they had, what I read was that Larry had also robbed somebody the day before of $2. He robbed somebody. Did you guys hear about that?
No, I didn't know that.
He robbed somebody for $2, and that guy that got robbed for the $2 recognized somehow that it was Larry Davis who did the killing. Do you know
Well,
about this?
he had also been he'd been locked up multiple times by guys in the borough, and there was one incident, and I believe it was the 4-4 where he actually shot at the cops.
Oh, okay.
So you know he was known as a cop shooter, and that added to the sense of urgency. So they really wanted to get there.
Let me ask you, because of this sense of urgency, you think they didn't take as much time in the planning maybe as they should have? I mean, you can obviously Monday morning quarterback like we all can.
Yeah.
But
I won't do that. You know, perhaps we could have taken a little more time, but it happened the way that it did. So,
And how many cops do you remember being there? Because the
Being-
reports say anywhere from 20 to 27 cops.
surrounding the building?
Yeah,
Oh,
were involved
easily.
in this.
Easily.
And this apartment was packed and tiny, to say the least. Not a tiny apartment, but maybe there was several rooms to it. But there's no room for 27 people to be in that house.
No, not in the house.
No, but what they're covering. They were covering the back.
Surrounding the
It was a
building,
first
the
floor
alleyways.
apartment.
Yes.
First floor apartment. So obviously you're gonna cover the back. You're gonna cover the front. But right there at the doorway,
Right.
to me in my head, what I'm thinking is there's a juggernaut. There's a lot of people at that door, right?
No.
So you're trying to get in?
No. There were alleyways in the back, alleyways on the side. Guys went up to the roof. Guys were on fire escapes.
Okay.
I mean, they had this building nicely buttoned
All
up.
right.
Yeah. So when
Now-
we got to the front door, the car that had been sitting there was pointing us, directing us to go in. So 7 of us actually entered the apartment.
Okay.
did you boom the door?
You know, it's funny to this day. I'll never forget. Somebody knocked twice, and the door just opened up.
Well, I watched an interview with the sister that said she was on the phone and somebody was talking to her about buying magazines. She felt like it was a distraction. So I don't know whether you guys called her and were keeping her distracted with the phone call with the magazines.
She was just on the other side of the door because we could hear her talking. So when the detective closest to the door knocked, he just opened right up. I'm like, when does that happen?
But I think she said, she even admits to saying that somebody knocked on the door and she said, come in.
Yeah.
And that's when, but like, when we talk about tactics wise, you know, usually ESU is the one leading the pack.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You go into an apartment, if you're taking the door, you're going to use the jaws of life, or jaws of life is that thing, it's like a pit, tick, 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 boom, and the jaw just blows, or they're going to use that big, I don't know what that cannon,
The ram.
the ram thing
ram,
is,
yeah.
but you didn't have to do that.
We didn't.
And then not only that, but there was detectives at the front instead of ESU guys.
Well, you know, it was narrow, and you know, that's just the way it worked out.
But do you agree with the fact that the detectives were in the front, or should they have been in the back?
We obviously should have been the first ones through, but that's not how it went. So
You had a picture of him, right? You knew what he looked like,
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah. In fact, when the door opened up, I could see him sitting on the couch looking at us, and his eyes just,
Wow.
holy shit, what is that?
And
that's he's
so
sitting
they
right
had no
there.
idea what was going on outside. They didn't get a heads up. Basically, you caught them by
No.
surprise.
Yeah.
So when the door opens up and you come in, you're right in the front, right?
I was about the
How
third
many
or
people
fourth.
in? 3 or 4
I
people
was
in.
about the third or fourth in.
So it was your partner,
Mary.
Mary, you said,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Was she in front of you?
Probably right next to me.
Right next to you, right?
Yeah.
And what kind of what was the gun that was in your hand at the time?
12 gauge.
Okay.
In the smaller trucks, there were 2 shotguns on the racks. The big trucks got all the big stuff.
So you coming in, you got the 12 gauge shotgun in your hand,
Yeah.
and
You got one of those ESU helmets on too?
Yeah, helmets and
the
vests.
person that went in first was, you said, the detective, right?
One of the detectives went in first. I guess he saw him and, just instinctively just bolted right in to try to get him. But Davis jumps up to his feet, and what does he do? He grabs this kid and holds him in front of him like a shield.
Wow.
And he starts backing down the hallway.
Did that ever make it into the trial, that statement?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it did?
Oh, yeah.
All righty.
The jury realized what a stand-up guy
Well,
he
no,
was,
we're,
right?
we're going to get to the jury in a little while. Let's save
a
the
whole
jury
other-
part. Let's make this build up. Let's marinate this. So now, as you're coming in now, you're following behind, and you said you see Larry. He's sitting on the couch. And then at some point he picks up a baby. There was two children in that apartment, plus his sister. I think was his mother in there too?
No, not his mother.
Two
His
sisters.
sister happened to be right in front of me, and I grabbed her and shoved her into the kitchen, and other guys were trying to keep her in there because she kept trying to pop out. But again, police don't move, and hands up, and yelling at him.
And at this time, everybody's coming in, right? And kind of sort of filing around the other.
Yes, trying to get in. Very, very narrow hallway.
So it's a narrow hallway. Once you guys got in, the other guy. So he picks up this baby. What time does he? When does he pick up a gun?
He picks the kid up. He starts backing up down this hallway. I guess it's about 10, 15 feet long. To a
So
rear,
nobody's shooting yet.
No, to a rear bedroom. So I guess that's when he dropped the kid, because I saw him, and I testified to this in court. I saw him pop his head out, and I could see his eyes like making like a mental image of where people were. And then all of a sudden his head pops in and the gun comes out, and he starts shooting. And that's when he got one of the detectives in the neck. He got Mary, got her right in the face.
Oh, man.
And all
So when
that
he's
stuff.
shooting, it's not one of these shots from outside the door and getting lucky. He peeked out, took a mental image there, came back, and then.
All I saw was sparks and smoke after that. I don't think he popped his head back out again. He just let loose with the handgun. Yeah.
What was he
So-
shooting with? What kind of gun?
I believe that was 45 he had.
Wow.
So your partner gets shot right on the side of you.
Right down.
And so what did you do after that?
I let a couple go downrange just to make my way towards her. And it's funny, another thing I'll never forget is I'm making my way towards her. I'm actually raising my vest because it has the ballistic collar. And I'm thinking if I get hit on the side or in the back, at least I won't get one to the head.
Right.
And I'm doing that as I'm trying to pick her up. And I got her up to her feet, and the round had just entered just above through her lip. And she was bleeding pretty bad, and I could see her face. So I'm like, I got to get her out of here. So I just threw her arm around my shoulder and out the door. And I happened to know that Montefiore Hospital was Bronx, Lebanon, hospital was right across the street.
And how much time would you say elapsed by the time that you actually entered the apartment and the shooting started?
Oh, not even a minute.
So let's say, so less than a minute, 35, 40 seconds in,
Yeah.
the first shot's going off.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah.
And then your partner gets shot right away.
Right away.
So you pick her
And I
up.
always joke that he shot her first because he knew she'd be the one to take him out.
Yeah, probably, yeah, man. Since she was a sniper. She
Now,
didn't get a chance to.
did her teeth help stop the round?
Maybe the angle at which the bullet came in, her teeth, it embedded itself in her tongue. Thankfully, it didn't go through.
Oh my God!
But yeah, down she went, and I think I pissed her off and taken her out of the fight because
She wanted to stay in the fight.
nothing
right?
like getting shot in the face would have kept her out. But she was pretty bad, so we had to get her out of there.
So you how far was Bronx Lebanon Hospital from? He was what is he at 21, 31, something like that.
12-9 Fulton. Yeah,
Fulton,
but
yeah.
no, Bronx, Lebanon is right across the street. I
Wow.
mean,
So you just literally
50 yards.
You're
50
smarter.
yards.
You remember that too in all this heat of the battle. Like fuck, I'll just bring her right to the hospital.
I took her in. I kicked the door open. There were some women with their kids sick, and just people. And I'm yelling at the top of my lungs, "Cop shot! Cop shot! I need a doctor!" And somebody rolled a stretcher over, and I put her down. And there happened to be a precinct cop there with, I guess, a prisoner or something. And I told him, "You stay with her. You don't move from here." So I put him on her, and I knew I had to get back to the fight. And as I'm leaving the hospital, going back to the entrance of the building, our other guy, John O'Hara, took a direct blast, shotgun blast, right to the face.
Wow.
And he's walking out of the street. And
So Larry Davis has more than that 45 that you said, right?
Yeah.
He's also got a
He
shotgun.
had a shotgun in the apartment, yeah.
And that was his shotgun? No, he didn't get
Not
that from you
ours.
guys, right?
No, not ours, no.
So he also is firing at you with a shotgun, and somebody else gets hit.
Which thankfully he had loaded with birdshot, the teeny little
Yeah,
pellets.
yeah.
Because if it was buckshot,
Yeah, it would have been.
that would have been fatal.
All right, so now think about this bravery, man. You could have very easily stayed with her over there.
No.
You know what I'm saying? And been on a harm's way at this point right now, especially after what you just witnessed.
He wanted to go back and help his team.
That's amazing. So that
That's what anyone in
and as you're running back there, now it's a full scale gunfight. So I'm sure it's like you're running into gunfire.
Yeah. You should hear the tapes. It's yeah.
So
Put some good
how
names.
many other guns did he have? He had the shotgun and the 45. Did he have other guns too?
I think it was just the two.
Okay.
So you run back in, and at this point right now, what are you coming into?
Well, like I said, as I left the hospital, I'm in the middle of the street, and I see John O'Hara coming towards me, and he took a direct blast to the face, and again, I'll never forget. Every time he would wince in pain, blood would squirt.
Oh my God.
So I'm thinking, hit an artery. This is going to be bad. So I put his arm around my shoulder and took him to the emergency room, started screaming, and I put him down. And same precinct cop, doctors, medical people with them.
Did you tell the precinct cop? Now I want you to watch him.
Forget about her. This is triage.
The precinct cop probably has like 15, 20 years on, some handbag watching
Why
the
did I
fucking.
get
They
into
stuck
that?
him in there, right?
He's calling the
And there's
police.
this little kid with an ESU uniform on, with this baby face, like, stay here, watch him. He's like, oh, is that a boss? What the fuck is he telling me?
He's calling
I
the
am
desk.
now.
He's calling the desk for relief. I gotta go 6 feet 3. I can't deal with this shit.
So on the way back to running in that, before you get to there, there's another officer that's been shot, so you got to bring him back.
Brought him back, put him in, took care of him. Now, precinct cops that had, and God bless them all, man, they were all lining outside, watching the building for us. They ran in to the hospital. So I knew they were well taken care of. So then I went back to the building, and there's about 15 steps up to get the first floor landing, and I can see the barrel of a shotgun laying from the top of the step. And I think it was one of our guys. It might have been John's, as he was running out. So I grabbed 2 precinct cops, and I had them point down range, and I said, if he pops up, take care of business, 'cause I'm going to get that gun before he does. So I tiptoed up the steps, I grabbed the rifle butt, slid it out, and quickly ran down the steps, and I handed it to one of the officers. And someone started yelling that he was in the back alley. So I ran around the back alley. There was like a 6-foot wall that we had to go over with the fence, and I fell on the other side of it. And I stopped. I looked around, and it was dead. For all the shit that was just going on, it was dead silent back there. And I waited to see if there was any movement, and there wasn't. What had happened was, as I understood later, he was in the lobby as I'm running Mary to the hospital. He was shooting it out with some of our other guys, and a round apparently went right past him in front of the door that he was standing on, and it blew the lock out. So he looks back, and now he's just able to open the door. He went into the apartment, down the window, out the back, and
Wow.
he was gone.
Wow.
He was gone. Yeah.
That guy, talk about luck for that fucking guy, man.
Oh,
He was a bad boy though, huh?
he was.
Bad guy.
He was a bad guy. Yeah.
It was an interesting situation, to say the least, because he was a guy who had no fear. He actually became a folk hero there in the Bronx.
Now, you see, now that pisses me off.
It does.
If
To
I
those-
heard
to
that
those
shit
people-
once, I heard it 1,000 times. This folk hero bullshit. He was a bad guy.
Uh-huh.
It had nothing to do with him being black. It had nothing to do with cops being on the take and trying to kill him. None of that shit.
But
He was,
there's a large percentage of the population there in the Bronx, and if you have that mindset, you can go on YouTube and they've created tons of video. supporting his version of the story, which obviously with law
that's the
enforcement we're
hatred
going to
for
go.
the cops and you know,
Every major story has two different sides, and usually the other side is fucking bullshit. Obviously, you didn't go after him for any other reason except it was part of your assignment that day.
He was wanted for a quadruple homicide.
Right.
I mean, what
So
more do you need?
now he, you said that door, the lock gets blown open, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, where does he go after that? You think?
Went into the apartment, out a back window, jumps out, and
Down the stairs,
into the night.
and he's into the night.
Yeah,
Now he's gone.
yeah,
He escaped.
yeah.
There was 20 to 27 police officers there to take him into custody. He was in an apartment with two children, two small children, a sister, and some other people.
In their defense, in those officers' defense, the back of that building was a maze unlike anything, you know, I've seen.
Which he knew.
Which he knew very well.
Yeah, which he knew.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that went in his favor, luck-wise.
Yeah, yeah.
But he gets away.
He did.
He gets away. And now, when everything is said and done, there's 6 police officers that he shot.
He did.
You helped 2 of them. Your partner and the other guy, John, that you said,
Yep.
got shot in the face as well.
Yeah.
And the other officers that got shot, do you?
The detectives, one ran upstairs and managed to lock himself in an apartment. The other 2, I don't know how they got taken out, but I know they were removed. Our Sergeant Jim Coulter, got shot in the leg. They threw him in a radio car, shot him off to Lincoln Hospital. But yeah.
Did all the people that got shot recover and come back to work, or they all got off the job?
Mary came back to work, got promoted to sergeant.
Mm-hmm.
The detectives, I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know.
What about why did they take that one guy, the cop, was shot in the leg to Lincoln?
They didn't like him?
Was it too many? No, because if you have, if the one across the street has a triage, which you obviously dragged Mary there, why wouldn't you just unless they were overwhelmed by bodies at this point right now? But it's only 6, really.
I don't know that. I don't know the answer to that.
All right, so now, how do you feel after this, man? Like when Larry Davis gets away, and you're all sitting there, and I guess the adrenaline's starting to come down a little bit. You're starting to get like a realization. The threat is gone. How do you tell us about what you're going through emotionally?
Well, as I'm sitting back there in that back alley, now he's gone. The threat, therefore, is gone. I'm sitting there, and I didn't realize that I actually like hurt my back and my leg a little bit when I fell off the wall. I didn't even realize it. So I'm standing there. I'm trying to stand when I felt a hand pick me up, and say, "We got you, brother." And I look up, and there were these 2 plainclothes street crime guys that just happened to respond when they heard. And by the way, this was an all-out emergency service 1013. 1013 is the call for help. Everybody, our dispatcher was yelling on the radio.
Well, must have been a mobilization
all
also, right?
available emergency service in New York City respond to this location. That's how bad it was.
Wow.
But yeah, he said, "I got your brother," and Barry Burns, great guy, and he picked me up.
He was the son of the PBA vice president.
Yes,
yeah, I know
yes,
Barry
yes.
Burns. Yeah.
And I was covered in blood from John squirting and from Mary, and he thought I was hit too. So they took me off to an ambulance, and I'm fighting them. I'm fine. I don't want to go because still, I didn't know that Davis was gone. But they got me to the ambulance, took my vest, and they took me off to. I ended up going to Jacoby Hospital. And
Because they liked you. That's
they
a good
liked
hospital.
me, yeah, not Lincoln for me. And I'm laying there, and it dawned on me. John got shot in the face. It was a headshot to me. Mary got shot. The sergeant got shot. Holy shit. And here I am laying,
Right.
First I started
And all I got is I hurt my ass
back.
because I can't jump over a fence.
That's
All
not
that
far from the
ensued
truth.
training.
I was sitting there
All
feeling,
that training, I never thought of having you go over a fence.
I was sitting there feeling like shit because, all these guys got shot and I didn't. But, for whatever reason, and I always say this, for whatever reason, Davis and I were the only ones that didn't get hit.
That's a psychological trauma people go through after an incident where everybody seems to die around them or get hurt around them. Survivor's guilt, yeah. So that's interesting that you and Larry were the only ones that didn't get shot.
Right.
Well, listen, we got more to this story, but we ran out of time on this first episode. We're going to be back for part 2, and we're going to learn some more about what happened with this interesting Larry Davis case, and with Rick Martinez here, who was there, an ESU officer at the time. And this is fascinating. Anything you want
Yeah,
to part with, Will?
I just wanted to just add because Rick is so consistent with all the great guests we have, and this is NYPD history. This is a historical case,
big time
and
history.
you're getting it from someone that was involved in this case, and that's police off the cuff. That's what we're bringing to this.
That's what we're bringing to the table here. All right, we'll be back.